All right, let's get to Hayes Permar, who's manning battening down the hatchets. Big Rock starts today. My friend Hayes Permar, who will be in this chair in about 10 days, sitting in for me as I picked my son up from a soccer camp somewhere. Mr. Hayes Permar, give us the lowdown. What's going on at Morehead City?
It's going to be a big week for the Big Rock. What was it, 2 or 3 years ago, where basically the profile was raised for the Big Rock because Jordan showed up.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that Catch 23 is among the listed boats again. So it looks like Michael Jordan will be back there. But the real tournament starts on Monday. This weekend is I believe it's called the Carrie Wagner's Lady Angler, one of the biggest ladies-only fishing tournament. Of course, women can fish in the Big Rock.
Right.
But this one is ladies only. So
why do we need? That just seems patronizing to me.
It's like tradition. It's tradition. The ladies like it. And then the captain's party Saturday night. That's when our good friend Josh Goodson will be trying to decide where to place his money. You got to talk to him about that. He won't
respond to me.
I'll make sure he gets up with you. He's too busy doing NC State NIL stuff, man. They're hustling over there, trying not to lose any more Tommy Tanks. But no,
yeah.
He puts money in a boat. I'm pretty sure those guys have caught more STDs than they have fish over the past years.
Sure.
He's been putting in there. But captain's party Saturday night. Get in a fight at Jack's in Morehead City after the captain's party Saturday night. That's always on the schedule. But then this captain's meeting Sunday. The real deal starts Monday, basically 7 days of fishing, Monday through Sunday. You got to take 2 off. So if you're a golf course in the area, figure out which days Jordan is taking off and try and get him to come to your course because he buys the whole place out. That's right. He probably brings 20 people with him, but he doesn't want to mess with anybody else. So he calls your course and he says, "I'm coming. How much to have nobody else there on that day?" And they say, "Yes, of course." I assume he's got to hit the 4C. Yeah, if you got to hit 4C, Adam Gold. The Country Club of the Crystal Coast.
I have not done that.
Course. You need to get down there. It's been redone, so check it out.
I've played Currituck Club, which is on the Outer Banks, which is outstanding. I give that place the highest possible marks. There's some other courses out there, but I played Currituck a few times. Absolutely love it. You brought up golf. In a way, because of the bankroll from a lot of the participants at Big Rock, is there a correlation between the deep pockets of fishermen, and professional golfers, and is Big Rock more like the U.S. Open or the Masters?
Okay, great question. So, yes. To be fair, we hear about, and we see all the time, great stories of professional athletes who change their fortune and their family's fortune by their winnings in sports, right? Typically, this is not true for everyone. There are plenty of people who came from very little and grew up playing, muni courses and made it to the big time. But oftentimes, people who are good at fishing or good at golf, they did not get rich because they played their sport well. They play their sport well because they were either born rich or they got rich, right?
Right.
I mean, Michael Jordan is not rich because he's a great fisherman. He's a good fisherman because he can afford to buy a big boat and hire a captain, right?
Right, exactly.
But, however, I do think that in this case, the Big Rock is more like the U.S. Open than the Masters. Where, obviously the Masters tournament does a better job now of inviting amateurs from all over the world. But even those amateurs are oftentimes, future professionals or guys who grew up with a silver spoon or a set of Titleists in their hand or whatever. But 2 years ago, a 35-foot boat won the whole darn thing. The Pelagic 2. I forget what kind of boat it was, but just 35 feet. And there's a 25-foot Grady White in the field. There's a 30-foot Regulator in the field. And they're going against 85-foot boats. Catch 23 is, I believe, an 80-foot boat. So, yes, the average guy can win it. And, the 25-foot boat, that may be new. It may be a $50,000 boat. But used, somebody could have bought that boat for $10,000. And there's going to be boats in there that are $10 million, all trying to catch the same fish.
Not to mention, if you have a 25-foot boat and you catch an 800-pound blue marlin, where the hell do you put it?
That happened 2 years ago. It was interesting. It was the first time ever that an outboard, and for people who don't really know the difference. Think of like engine attached to the boat as opposed to an engine
Right.
being a part of the boat. So if you can see the engine, that's a little bit lower on the tier of boat. Those aren't the ones we normally see win. You normally see boats where it's that big, smooth, look or whatever, and they have like multiple tiers. But no, there's a couple out there that just have a little T-top, and they're going to try and hook, if you get it over 500 pounds, there's like a bonus. All kinds of money. $1.6 million was the purse last year for just the winning. There's plenty of other people that are bringing in bonuses or winning. There's a lot of other divisions and stuff like that. So
all right,
it'll be fun.
but nobody is guaranteed. I actually heard a rumor, and I don't know if it's because the sign of the times.
Yep.
Is there a rival, like boating of Blue Marlin tournament that is going to try to put Blue Rock out of business? Or Big Rock, not Blue Rock.
The people down in Morehead City don't want this to be in the headlines this week, but absolutely, there is a Saudi-backed live fishing tour that is trying to camp up right there in Wrightsville Beach and just take all the shine away from the Big Rock. I heard they've thrown huge numbers at Michael Jordan himself to come fishing, at Curtis Strange. They throw big bucks at our good friend Curtis Strange, trying to get him out of there. Many of the fishermen have said they are dedicated to the Big Rock, and they're not going to go. But there's a couple rogue guys that we're not sure where they might end up on that. So for me personally, I don't like to bring politics into it, but I'm sticking with the Big Rock for now. Especially, it's still seen as the major. We'll see if the Big Rock threatens to ban anybody else who might take place in this Saudi-backed live fishing tour, where I think maybe even the boats might team up on the live fishing tour and fish together. It's kind of an odd format.
Boats draft each other. I've heard that they have already signed Jimmy Houston to a 7-figure deal. So
they have, and a lot of people. Big Rock is a full 7 days. A lot of people would rather have a 4-day fishing tournament instead, with only one off day, and that's what this Saudi back tour is offering.
Shotgun start too.
What would a shotgun start look like in boating?
Isn't it the same? I mean, don't they send all the boats out at the same time anyway?
Yeah, I guess it is. I mean, it isn't. We already got shotgun starts.
We can't even. That's not an innovation. That is not an innovation. All right, I'm curious because this would have been right up your alley, and I'm not sad that you weren't here this week for this when you filled in for me a couple of weeks ago. Abby Lampe, NC State grad, brand new NC State grad, won the Gloucestershire cheese rolling race.
Yep.
She raced down that hill in England, muddy hill. I shouldn't say she certainly didn't run down it because I've seen the video. There was very little running that was accomplished, but she won the Wheel of Cheese. I know you would have had thoughts on this. I'm curious. What do you think?
My main thought when I see it, first of all, congrats to Abby, not only like how she did it, but the way she's done her victory. I mean, she popped right up and said, I'm from North Carolina and I go to NC State. And that was cool. Like she knew to give props, right? Yeah. Just like a NASCAR driver going to the sponsors, she knew where she was headed. Like, I'm Abby and I'm repping North Carolina and NC State, baby. And she threw the wolf up there. But here's my thing. No disrespect to Abby, who seems like not only a well-rounded person, but like a good athlete, right? Yeah. And she went and practiced it. But I got to wonder, and I watched the video a little bit, like there were only two females. There was a male race and she won the female race. There were only two females that had a chance. Like after about the first 10 seconds, it was her and one other girl. And that other girl was coming on strong and she held her off. And I'm like, if you're a female and you watch that and you're like an athlete, especially an athlete that like is already into like a physical sport, like let's say, I don't know, what's a physical sport? They hit in female lacrosse, women's soccer. They throw bows in soccer, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you got to see that and think I could do this because again, I'm not knocking Abby's athleticism, but she, by her own admission, she practiced one time on a hill in Raleigh that wasn't that big. And then smartly, because I'm guessing a lot of people don't do this, she did go out to the hill, the day before or whatever. But I'm watching this. Yeah. I think that like you could figure out a way, and part of it is because I've read so many interviews and seen stuff. I heard her on your show, I heard her on your station. I've read the Jeremy Marcus NC Rabbit Hole with her. I saw, a lot of people talking to her, right? She talks about like rolling and how you kind of like naturally pop up because the hill. I think if you practice enough, you could do the whole thing in like 6 full rotations where you just somersault, pop up, somersault, pop up, somersault, pop up. And the fact that nobody has gotten like really good at this, like, it's almost like the World Cup. Are we sending our best American athletes
I don't think so.
to the Gloucester cheese race? I don't think we are. We need more people training for this.
Don't knock Abby.
Okay.
I thought she did her best work when she was simply in roll mode. But she also said that she wasn't sure she was on course. When she started seeing the crowd too close, she realized she needed a correction. Speaking of Abby, you can actually buy a Cooper's Hill cheese race shirt with her signature on it.
It's a slick tee.
Dennis already bought it for $35. I'll tweet out the well, you can go to her Twitter feed, but I'll tweet out the link to it because the proceeds are going to charity. So great for her.
Your point, her roll, like when she got in that roll, even though she was going diagonal, that was it. But like if you prepare for that roll and instead of sideways diagonal, it's a forward controlled roll.
Yeah.
Like I think somebody can like set new records. And I challenge,
the danger goes up though.
I challenge USA Cheese Racing to invest in the best athletes and get them out there. Let's pay our female cheese racers the same as our male cheese racers, and let's get them over there and let's win some more cheese.
Would you do that, though, for an 8-pound wheel of Gloucester cheese? I mean, Gloucester cheese is good. It's a semi-hard cheese, which at my age is probably fine. But would you do it for Gloucester cheese?
Nah, and I know where you're going, like a discussion about what cheese you would do it for. But as you know, like it's all about the thrill. Like this definitely looks like one of the things I would have done probably up to I was 25, maybe even up to 30, somewhere between 30 and 35. Even in my 20s, like, you'd roll an ankle, probably break it, but I didn't have insurance or afford to pay for it, playing basketball. So you just, you lay off it for a couple of weeks. Like, same attitude seems to be a lot of those guys going into the Cooper Hill cheese race or whatever. So I would have done it, but now I'm a little more careful. I feel sad saying that. Like, not long ago, I was throwing myself off, cliffs at the Eno River Quarry. Like, I'm always subject to being called chicken to like jump off a spot where there's like 18 or 20-year-olds that are doing it. And I'm like, I can do that. And like, we'll do it then. I'm like, all right. But I think the cheese race is just the chance of injury is just slightly too high for me to want it that bad. Now, if it were Roquefort, true Roquefort from France, because, I probably never even had true Roquefort. Roquefort's like champagne, where like everybody claims it's Roquefort, but unless it's just made in this one part, it's just like a cool blue cheese. But maybe for a Roquefort, I'd summon my younger self and get down that
Nobody's
hill.
favorite cheese is Roquefort.
Nobody's favorite. Pulling back the curtain, we were discussing what my favorite cheese is. Dennis Cox, you'll appreciate this. No, but the reason why Adam Gold is the sportscaster of the year, now that goes through TV and all mediums, right? Nothing says sports radio more than a sports radio host asking you your favorite cheese. You give him the answer of what your cheese is, and he says, "Nah, that's not your favorite cheese."
Nobody's favorite cheese is Roquefort.
You're going to argue with me what my favorite cheese is. That is like peak sports radio guy, and that's why you're the best, Gold. I love it.
You are. Hayes, I appreciate your time, my friend.
Can't wait to sit in there and talk lacrosse with man. You were struggling talking lacrosse yesterday, man.
I was.
Yeah, I mean, what? Like, Dennis was angry. I could sense it.
You could feel it. Can't confirm.
I've misspoken about lacrosse in his presence, and it's a scary thing.
Can't do it. I love the sport. I don't know what's going on. We'll talk to you later, my friend.
Soon. And Dennis, I got a present for you when I get in there too. So I'll see you soon. And Gold, have a nice vacation. And you know what? Stay a few extra days. It's good for everyone else.
Hey, Permar.